Today we're going to talk about something you see all the time, but maybe don't really see. We're peeling back the sticker on the side of the airplane to look at what's really going on with the aviation brand illusion.
So picture this. You're at the airport. You see names and logos absolutely everywhere, right? On your ticket, on the signs, on the uniforms. But have you ever stopped to think, who are you really doing business with? The answer, well, it's probably not who you think. All right, let's start with what we all know, the name on the plane. We see these big airline and airport brands constantly. They spend a fortune making sure we recognize their logos and trust their names. This is the simple, shiny world they want us to see.
Okay, but here's where it gets interesting. That familiar brand, the one you think you're flying with, that name is almost never the actual company that holds the legal responsibility. It's really just a label, a public face.
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter, the massive difference between the brand and the actual company. In aviation, you have to understand that these are almost always two totally separate things. So first up, you've got the trading name. This is what you and I would just call the brand, you know? It's the public name, the shiny logo on the tail, the name you type into the website. But, and this is the key part, a trading name has zero legal personality. It can't sign a contract, it can't hire anyone, and you can't sue it.
Hiding behind that trading name is the legal entity. Now this is the real company. This is the official, registered business that the law recognizes. It's the one that actually holds all the operating licenses, signs the big contracts, employs the pilots and the crew, and, here's the most important part, it's the one that carries all the liability when things go sideways. So let's just put them side by side to make it super clear. The brand, that's the public face you see on your ticket, but it has no real legal muscle. The legal entity, that's the one behind the curtain, signing the deals and carrying all the risk. Totally different roles.
And believe it or not, it gets even more complicated. It's kind of like a Russian doll. A single, well-known brand might actually be a front for a whole web of different legal entities. You could have one company that holds the flight certificate, another one that employs the crew, a totally different one that owns the planes, and yet another that runs ground services. And this isn't just for airlines. Airports work the same way, all operating under one name, but legally, they're all separate.
So the big question is, why? Right? Why create this two-faced system that seems so confusing? Well, it's not just to make our heads spin. There are some very specific business reasons for doing this.
It really boils down to four main things. First, brand consistency. It keeps the look and feel the same everywhere. Second, passenger clarity. It gives us, the customers, one simple name to remember. Third, it allows for huge corporate flexibility, letting different companies work together seamlessly under one banner. And finally, there's regulatory separation, which is all about keeping specific licenses and risks contained within their own legal boxes. It's all about making something incredibly complex look simple from the outside.
But this illusion of simplicity works perfectly fine until it doesn't. Because when things get really serious, that friendly brand you thought you knew, it can suddenly vanish.
Think about it. In a crisis, an accident, a big lawsuit, the brand becomes completely irrelevant. It has no legal standing. All of a sudden, the only thing that matters is the legal entity that was pulling the strings all along.
I mean, when regulators come asking questions, who do they talk to? The legal entity. Who actually shows up in court? The legal entity. The trading name can't do any of that. It's basically just a ghost in the legal system.
So you have to remember this. In the world of aviation, responsibility follows the legal paperwork, it follows the corporate registration, and the licenses. It has absolutely nothing to do with the logo that's painted on the airplane. And this isn't just some boring legal technicality. This confusion can create real, tangible risks. When people, even employees, don't know which company is truly responsible, accountability gets blurry. Safety reports can get sent to the wrong company. You can even end up with security gaps between all these different legal entities that are supposed to be working together under one brand. Okay, so how do you cut through all this fog? How do you figure out who is actually responsible for what? Well, there's a pretty straightforward way to check.
It all comes down to a simple three-question reality check. Just ask these things. 1. Which company actually holds the official license for this operation? 2. Which company's name is on the employment contracts? And 3. Which company's name is on the service agreement or the fine print of your ticket? The answer to those questions will always point you to the real legal entity, not just the brand.
If you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Trading names are useful. They make a ridiculously complex industry feel understandable to us. But it's the legal entities that make that industry accountable to the law.
And that really is the bottom line. In aviation, brands are built to face the public, but legal entities are built to face the law. So the next time you're in an airport, look around at all those familiar logos and just ask yourself, who's really running the show here?